So you work in sales and you want to make your first $1 million. Let me tell you something. You already know how to sell. You just don't know how to stop selling your time. In the next 20 minutes, I'll teach you 6 things that will take you from being a sales rep to a sales manager and get true leverage over your life. My name's Usman and I've built and led multiple teams that took companies into the 8 figures, ran sales teams of over 400 people, and now I help sales reps become incredible sales leaders who get their life back whilst making bank. This isn't hype, it's the blueprint that I wish someone gave me at 20 so I could save 10 years of my life. Let's go. Escape the hamster wheel. You're climbing the income ladder, but your calendar is your prison. Every time you win a deal, you earn more money and you buy yourself more work. You hit a target and you get rewarded with more pipeline, more demos, more quick favors. You're successful and you're stuck. I learned this the hard way, running back-to-back closes, hitting record months, and realizing I had just built a golden hamster wheel. I could outwork anyone, but I couldn't outscale my own 24 hours. If you feel the same in your bones, you're not broken, you're early, because you've mastered the art of personal production. Now you need to master how to produce without you. The first concept I'm going to show you is a time and money seesaw. If I break down the time and money seesaw, you're going to see you as a sales rep. You have time, which I'm just going to put a clock, and then you have money. As a sales rep, you can only earn so much money because it's just relying on your time. Now think about if you're a sales manager and you have a sales team. So it's the same seesaw, and think about if you're spending more time. So these are all little mini clocks here. So these are supposed to be clocks, by the way. I'm not an artist. Don't advertise myself as an artist. I'm a sales guy. We don't draw. Think about this is your sales team. Now you have all these other calendars that you can leverage. Sales rep number 1, sales rep 2, setter 1, sales rep number 3, and this is your sales team. And the more you hire, the more you can earn. So let's say you hire another guy. And now think about how your earning was capped at just your time. But now think about how much you can earn. This is where you're making bank, bro. Look at this. We've got 8 clocks, 8 times the money, because now you've leveraged other people's time to earn more. So this is where you are now, sales rep. And a sales rep can only make so much money because you've got only your time to leverage. Think about a sales manager. And now if you want to see the extreme case of where I've developed to over years as a sales director, and we do this seesaw, I've got multiple one of these seesaws. So if I was to say this was 1, and I was to draw that as a seesaw here, I've got as many seesaws as I can hire with multiple sales managers under me, because I fractionally manage sales teams, which is how we're making hundreds of thousands every single month. And as a sales director, I'm leveraging all of these seesaws to make bags of cash. I'm gonna draw a bag here. This is a bag of cash. And that bag of cash comes from leverage. So think about point 1. From point number 1, all you did as a sales rep was you became really good at following up your pipeline, using the CRM, sales training. You understood this really well. As a sales manager, you understood hiring, firing, data, how to do all of these things. And then as a sales director, you learned how to become a true leader, how to inspire other leaders, how to do reporting, tracking, how to manage other leaders, how to see companies grow. So you just leveraged your skills each time. And the more you develop your skills, the more you can earn. In sales, most people will just stay a sales rep and they'll spend 10 to 15 years in this career. Do you know why? Because they get stuck. They get stuck in the same position. They don't know how to leverage it. But what we do is, if you can learn the basic skills of the mindset shift, going from a sales rep to a sales manager, going from a single producer to having other people produce for you, you're going to find you're going to leverage your time, you're going to earn more money, win your time back, win back your balanced life, gain freedom. I can travel where I want because other teams are selling for me. Before you can free up your time, you need to build a machine that runs without you. So let's build it. Point number 2 is to command your pipeline. Your pipeline runs you because you don't own the inputs. You let the week happen to you. Reschedules, no-shows, random tasks. It's chaos disguised as hustle. When I took over my first broken sales team, we weren't losing because of market conditions. We were losing because Tuesday's pipeline looked different for everybody else. No two reps did it the same way. Everyone was selling their own way, and it was now time to standardize the way everyone sold and managed their pipeline. Let me give you an example of this. If one sales rep is calling his no-shows the day after when he gets the time, and the other sales rep is calling his no-shows straight away, you're going to find a difference in result, because a certain amount of no-shows will rebook and end up buying something. And the sales rep who's delaying calling his no-shows and not booking them in, you're going to find starts to fall behind because he's not doing the same actions as the other person. If they're doing things differently, your sales team is not performing the same. So your job as a sales manager is to standardize the pipeline. And how you standardize the pipeline is to write down every single rule. What do we do when there's a no-show? Specifically, what do we say and how do we handle it? The next one, what do we do when someone isn't ready to buy off a call? What do we tell them and how we're going to follow up and what we're going to do with them? If you can standardize every single scenario and train your team on it, you're going to find that your team sells in one congruent way, and then you can start doing projections and forecasts. Then you level up as a sales manager because you can now go to your CEO and tell him by mid-month what you think the team's going to finish on, because your numbers become predictable, which all comes from just managing your pipeline in a standardized way. If you're watching this and your days seem to just disappear, yesterday was a blur, the day before was a blur, Saturday was a blur, it's time to escape. Random effort produces random income. So here's what you're going to change. You're going to install your non-negotiable weekly rhythm. Monday morning, it's always a pipeline triage. You're going to look at the entire pipeline and look at who owns what deal at what stage, and you're going to look at the behaviors of the reps on how they're moving the leads through the stages. Are they doing it at the right speed? Thing number 2 is to have a daily learning block, 60 minutes every single day to learn, to develop yourself as a sales manager. Number 3, same day objection loop. Any lost deals are debriefed that day with your team so you can actually see a pattern of what's going on and why they're getting those objections, why they're not being closed. Fridays, you want to future cast. You want to plan the next week before you log off the computer. So before you finish work at 5, 6, 7 o'clock, make sure that you know exactly what you're going to do next week as soon as you come in on Monday, so there's no guessing. And the last thing that you want to measure is a number 1 metric, and that's dollar per call, or some people would call it revenue per call. So let's say we had dollar per call, and I'm going to show you how we measure this. So dollar per call is if there's 10 calls taken, so you have 10 calls, and out of those 10 calls, a closer has closed, let's say 2 deals at 5K. So he's made 10K from 10 calls because he closed at 20%. The total dollar per call on this is $1,000. $1,000 is your dollar per call. So you can measure close rate, that's one scenario, but it doesn't take into consideration how effective they are in asking for more money. Are they selling for more? Because you might have moved up your prices, but if you're only measuring close rate, you've not taken into consideration the price changes. So dollar per call is a far more effective way of measuring each rep. Let's say there's 3 packages in the business. Let's say there's a done with you, there's a DIY, there's a do it yourself, and there's a done for you. And let's say each of these are being sold at 2K, 4K, and 6K in prices. And now you've got one sales rep who sold 10 deals, who closed 10 deals, and he's closed those 10 deals. He had, let's say, 20 sales calls. He's closed at 50%. Those 10 deals that he closed at 2K made the business 20K. Now on paper, you might look at this sales rep, let's call him John. You're thinking, wow, John's great. He's closing at 50%. What a good sales rep. This guy needs a promotion. But John is selling the lowest tier package. But then we've got this guy here. What's his name? We're going to call him Smithers. Freaky Smithers. Smithers is closing only 6 deals out of his 20 calls. His closing percentage is 30%. You're going to say, oh, that sales rep, 30%. That's not as good. But he's closing done for you clients, and he's closed 6 of them. So he's bought in 36K. Look at the difference from Smithers to John. This lad's bringing in 36 grand. This guy's bringing in 20K. who is the more skilled sales rep? Is it the guy with the higher close rate, or is it the guy with the highest dollar per call? Because Smithers' dollar per call is 6K. We're going to call it dollar per call. And then John, his dollar per call is 2K. So who's the better sales rep? So if you're only measuring close rate, you're not going to be able to make great decisions on the team. You're not going to be able to train your team as effectively. So your rhythm is now good, but it won't free you. You need people who are going to sell without you. And that's when you're going to learn about point number 3, which is to clone the closer. You're probably irreplaceable, and that's the problem. You carry the room, you improvise, you turn maybes into money. But because you're the best, they won't move you up. So in 2017, I was that sales rep who was not getting promoted. I was doing the work. I was actually running the team for free, but not getting paid for it. I was doing practically everything, and I was told the promotion will come in 3 months. The promotion will come in 6 months. And I spent over a year and a half grinding as a sales rep who was doing the manager's job. Excellence can't be copied and it can't be scaled. You want to write down 3 things that you would do if you were a manager of your current team and how you would implement them. Once you have done so, see if there's something that you can do to start influencing the offer that you're already on. And if you're already applying for roles, see how you can benefit that team. Think about all the risks that could happen by implementing those changes. Think about every single variable that you will change. And if you were to implement that change with somebody else's script, how would it affect further down the line if someone didn't implement the script fast enough or they didn't understand it properly? If you can understand every scenario in every different way, you're ready to take on a sales team and start managing your own offer. But all of that is just ideas. Now it's time to think. Only judge actions, not words. Most salespeople, their greatest weapon is their words. As a sales rep, I was the type to bamboozle anyone, just schmooze my way through every conversation, and I could just come up with the right words to say to just make it sound amazing. I was a sales manager's nightmare. Yeah, that deal is definitely going to close next week. It's definitely going to happen next week, I promise. I got away with murder at times until I learned how to actually be competent as a salesperson. Until I learned how to be a competent salesperson, I got away with just bullshitting because I was just great with my words. And now, as a sales manager, I would say, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, mate. But eventually, when I was managing a team, I learned that others were doing that to me. So I developed a system of accountability where I could ask them very clearly, if this lead does not close, what do you think the punishment should be? By creating scenarios in front of the team where there was pressure on them to actually commit to a time when that deal is going to be closed, it put them under scrutiny each morning. And when you put it on someone's toes just like that in front of the team, they get the vibe that they just can't be bullshitting. Because I used to be the type to do it, so I know how to counteract it. Number 5 is to scale lean and scale fast. Sometimes the more people you have, the bigger the headache is. It's easy just to have a small, lean team. If you've got so many people working part-time, it's hard to maintain the standards. There was a time where I was managing a sales team and the gym chain I worked for said, we're going to combine sales team with the reception. So they had combined 16 receptionists. 10 of them were part-time and I'm the sales manager. So I've just gone from a team of 4 people to a team of 20 people. So now my task is to get to know all of these receptionists, 10 of them being part-time. It took me around a month to be able to pin down a one-to-one with the 10 people that were part-time. The 6 that were full-time, it was easy because I met them, I knew their shift. The ones that were part-time, they were late. At times they had an excuse that we were so busy I couldn't pull them off the desk because they were needed. There was an issue every single time. But eventually, what I had done was I standardized how many hours they had to work. I had got commitments from them. Remember, in the UK, you can't just go and change someone's contract. There used to be this rule in the UK, which is a 0-hour contract. And if someone's on a 0-hour contract, they can take 10 hours one week, 20 hours the next week, and it would just cause havoc because they're not fully committed and they're just turning up whenever they want. I had to be able to leverage those people to a committed amount of hours. So what I did was motivate them by saying, we're going to share the team commission with you if you can commit to a certain amount of hours, you make a certain amount of sales. Because I knew that these people can sell if they've had training. So what I had done was those people on 0-hour contracts, I said to them, if you want to work 16 hours a week, which you're already doing anyway, I'm happy to give you sales commission for the deals that you close, and I'm happy to give you sales training. But the stipulation is that you got to stick to your hours, you can't change, and you got to show up to the sales training. And some people agreed, some people did not, who left, and the ones who did agree Some didn't end up showing to the sales training, so they didn't last. Some ended up coming to the sales training and becoming good at sales and moving into the sales team full time. You see, when I was hit with all these part-time people, there was just so much chaos happening at the same time, and I had to just be able to steer everyone's role by finding out what motivates them. But to be able to meet 16 people who are all on different contracts and align them to one goal was my first task. But that was honestly a big headache for me. You do not want to hire part-time salespeople. You want to create enough opportunity to hire full-time. Part-time hours equals part-time results. You can make over $1 million with a sales team with just a couple of people when the setter owns all their daily inputs and the closer owns the revenue for that week. But none of these things happen if you don't do point number 6, and that is take the jump from sales rep to sales manager. The first thing is to understand the mindset shift that you have to go through, because when you've gone from an individual contributor to now having other people sell for you, the main thing is that you're still actually selling. There's a book by Daniel Pink where he talks about how to sell is human. And if you think about even from a young age, when you would ask your parents for money, you were selling that. If I get 20 quid, I'll be able to do this. I promise I'll be good. I'll do all this stuff. You are always selling. It's in our human nature to sell. People just think of sales as a transaction when we're taking money, but you've actually always been selling, which is why as a sales manager, the big mindset shift is you were selling deals before, selling on calls, but now you're selling ideas and motivation, and you're selling the idea of someone succeeding. So you always will learn the motivation of each person on your team. So you ask them, like, what's their long-term goal? Why are they in this job? Where do they want to be in 5 years? And when you learn those things about them, now you can mention it. So let's say someone say to you, I want to become a remote closer. I want to just travel and just work wherever I want. Or I want to get a better place. I want to get a better house. Now, when you ask them to increase their sales, you're not just going to say, I need you to sell at a 30% close rate. You're going to say, I know your big goal is to travel, and you're currently earning 5K a month, and you need to be earning 7K a month for you to start traveling. I can put a plan in place where if you do the training with me, you will go from 5K to 7K. Are you committed to doing it enough where you work alongside me and get that extra training in? Because it's going to involve some extra hours, some effort outside of work. But if you're willing to do it, I'll put in the time with you so you can go from 5 to 7K. Is that a good deal? And when they say yes to that, now they've just committed to doing more than before. But they didn't commit it just because you asked. They committed to that because you found out why it benefits them. So you want to sell every single idea to each sales rep. You learn every sales rep's individual goals in what motivates them, and then you sell everything that you need to them. You don't stop selling just because you come off the phones. Now you're selling motivation, you're selling development, you're selling the next stage to them. You're selling the idea of them making more money. As they make more money, what happens? You make more money. If you want to master sales management and you're currently a sales rep on an offer and you want to move towards your first sales manager position, if you follow the link below, join our free community and take the training, which is the mindset shift from sales rep to sales manager. I've put together this training so sales reps can make this jump within a couple of weeks and start getting the first manager job. I'll catch you on the next video.